Hey everybody, this is Tom and T from Show Me Coasters, and today we're coming to you from our neighbor to the north in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada. Today we are visiting Canada's Wonderland.
Hi folks, this is T from Show Me Coasters. Yeah, from the map, this park looked like it's a jumbo mess. But actually, if you break down the layout, it is almost identical to King's Dominion, Kings Island. Instead of the Eiffel Tower, you got the Wonder Mountain in the background. So we can walk you around, show you this international plaza here at Canada's Wonderland, and show you the few flat rides and the layout. Then we'll come back and head over there on the left to show you the Grand Exposition. So this is one of the international street, one of the main parallel walking path of Canada's Wonderland. It's almost identical to King's Dominion, Kings Island. You get the traditional European villas layout, and it creates such a great atmosphere. You can definitely feel the international flavor with the music in the background here. So this is the Royal Fountain. This is Medieval Fair, but we'll cover that last in the tour. That's where Leviathan, the 300-foot coaster, is at. So, folks, this is Wonder Mountain. This is the park's midway. If you can see this from anywhere, you can find yourself to the front of the park, and it's like all the Paramount, the Paramount Park. Since it was in Canada, use the mountain instead of the Eiffel Tower. But there's 3 rides that interact with this one: Wonder Mountain Guardian, Thunder Run, and Vortex, the gondola, the suspended coaster made by Aerodynamic. So we'll continue walking around this facility and circle Wonder Mountain here.
This is where they die from. This would be the best angle to get it.
Folks, this is Wagon, the park's standard fare bumper car. This was originally for the park, opened in 1981. And folks, this is Thunder Run, the park's power mine train here. Opened to the park originally in 1981. For time constraint, we won't have time to show you what the off-ride looks like. So let's continue to tour up the International Plaza here.
So right over there is the Huss swing around here at the park called Clockworks. Now you can tell that this one is an actual Huss model because it actually goes higher in the air. Now the one that they have at Worlds of Fun in Kansas City is not made by Huss. It was made by a Japanese company, and it's kind of a knockoff, cheaper version.
This is Shockwave, opened to the park in 2001. This is a Mondale top scan. This ride is beautiful at night, folks. It's lit up, multicolored. I only rode one of these. It was in Carowinds. What was the ride Carowinds called? Yeah, the Mondale top scan in Carowinds was called Electrospin. So we're back in the International Plaza, circling Wonder Mountain here, try to come back to the front and continue the tour. This is the Fly, the park's Mad Wild Mouse. You see this standard fare in a lot of parks around the world.
They're inexpensive and they're fun little family rides.
Easy to put up, and it's a great training coaster for the little ones. So this is Wonder Mountain Guardian, the park's interactive dark ride. Add to the park in 2014. I think there's another one. We're heading back toward the front and start exploring the Grand Exposition area of the park here. Folks, as you see over there, that is the front entrance when we start the tour circling Wonder Mountain. So we're going to veer to the right here and enter the Grand Exposition area here, which has a few multiple flat rides and some coasters.
So we just entered into the Grand World Exposition of 1890 here at Canada's Wonderland. This is one of the original themed areas of the park. And off to our left here is going to be our first ride for the day in this section, and that is their Sky Coaster. This is an added fee attraction here at the park, and that's going to be the first one that you come to when you come into this section. The next ride that we're going to come to here is Flight Deck. This is the Vekoma's SLC coaster here at Canada's Wonderland. This was added in 1995.
That's not my favorite coaster.
And yeah, we've ridden these before. They're not all that awesome to us. They're kind of rough. They can be very painful to actually ride. But we'll try this one later and see how it goes.
Personal preference.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something that this forks out. So we're gonna take the left fork. We'll take the right fork here.
So folks, this is the Grand Carousel here at the park. This was originally built in 1928 by Philadelphia Toboggan Company. This is known as PTC number 84. Originally it opened in Palisades Park in New Jersey and opened here at the park in 1981.
And folks, across from the carousel is Time Warp, the park's San Perlo Volare model. There's a few of these in the nation, I think. This one opened in 2004, and there's one in Coney Island in New York.
Head back towards the front of the exposition area here, and we're going to take that right fork that we were talking about earlier. We're going to take the right fork this time. We see a small little kids junior high striker game, and then also another arcade area. So the last ride here in the International Exposition section is going to be the park's Zaire Zephyr ride. This is called Swing of the Century and was added to the park in 1981.
Would number 2 and number 3 like to come on?
Another old classic carnival game area with whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
So folks, we're leaving the Grand Exposition and we're coming right into the middle of the action zone. And up here is the Mandau Windseeker. This is a standard fare for Cedar Fair Park, and they have a lot of these at the parks. That is the park's extra fee activities, the slingshot. Yeah, I have not had a chance to ever ride this, but one of these days I'll be brave enough and Tom could film me. So let's continue explore the rest of the action zone here, part of the Grand Exposition area. This is the park's Mandau Giant Frisbee. It's actually on the short side, only about 75 feet. This was added to the park in 2002. The Sledgehammer Claw is the only one in the world. This is made by Huss, opened in 2003, sorry. Let's continue. We're getting ready to enter a new section of the park here, folks. Folks, this is Behemoth, the park's B&M Hypercoaster, opened in 2008. When it opened in 2008, it has this distinction of being the tallest coaster in Canada, until of course it was beaten by Leviathan in 2012. So let's explore the park. Head back here to the straight ahead to the left and show you guys the last ride of this section of Action Zone. Folks, this is Backland Stunt Coaster. There's 3 of these in a Cedar Fair chain. And this one opened in 2005. There's another one in Kings Island with the same name, Backland Stunt Coaster, and another one in Kings Island. When it opened in 2005, it was called the Italian Job. This is made by Premier, opened in 2005. So we're going to backtrack and go over the new section of the park here.
So Frontier Canada just reopened. They just redid this whole section of the park and reopened it in 2019 with the addition of Yukon Striker, the park's new B&M dive coaster. So when you first come into this section, if you make a left, you come up on one of the park's original 4 roller coasters that opened with the park in 1981. And that's going to be the mighty Canadian Mindbuster. This was built by Taft Broadcasting. This is modeled after a ride at Coney Island in Cincinnati called Shooting Star. This is the entrance queue for Yukon Striker. This is the park's new B&M dive coaster, which has the distinction of being the world's tallest dive coaster, and it's the first one to go underwater and have a vertical loop element added to it. folks, also here in the Frontier Canada section is the entrance for the water park, Splashworks. We'll take a look at that here a little bit more in detail later on. So we're going to turn to the right here and keep continuing on in the Frontier Canada section. So the next ride we come to in the Frontier Canada section is the Whitewater Canyon. Now this is the Intamin Whitewater Rapids ride that they have here that opened in 1984.
It's a small size.
So this was a smaller one of these rides that we have here. Generally, the ones like at Six Flags St. Louis features a boat that has seats 12. So this one only seats 6. And then we come to after that is going to be the Flying Canoes ride here. And this was added in 2018 and is canoe themed, and you can actually control the interaction of the ride.
Folks, that is Kidsville. This is one of the 2 areas of the park that's designated for kids. For children privacy issue, we will not go inside and film. So we will continue with Frontier Canada section of the park and finish the tour.
So folks, this is the entrance for Timberwolf Falls. This is the park Shoot the Chute rides built by Hopkins Rides and opened in 1989. Okay folks, the next ride we come to in Frontier Canada is going to be the Lumberjack. Now, this opened in 2018 and was built by Zamperla. This is their Hawk model. It has 2 swinging pendulums that take riders through the sky with their feet dangling 75 feet in the air. So folks, this is the entrance to Vortex. This is the park's aerodynamics suspended coaster, steel coaster. This was opened in 1991, and there's only about 4 of these in the world, maybe 5.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Yeah.
Ninja, Six Flags Magic Mountain.
The Bat?
The Bats, Kings Island. Iron Dragon.
Iron Dragon at Cedar Point.
Cedar Point, yeah.
And the last ride in the park is going to be Soaring Timbers. It opened in 2017 and is a Mondial Inferno model.
Okay, 1 minute later, we're ready for the slot.
We usually don't go into the kids section, but it has 3 coasters. We're going to veer to the left here and enter Planet Snoopy.
So back in Planet Snoopy, we have Peanuts Ghoster Coaster. This opened at the park in 1981 and is originally built by Philadelphia Toboggan Company. And it's a nice little family wooden coaster. So the next ride we come to in the Kidsville section is going to be Taxi Jam. This is an E.F. Miller steel coaster, kiddie coaster, opened in 1998. Coaster that's in the kids section is Silver Streak. Now this is a Vekoma suspended family coaster, and this opened in 2001.
Do you want
No, I will take another one. Come.
We're going to head to the right here and head into the medieval fair section of the park. So the first ride in this section is the Bat. This is the Vekoma Boomerang, built in 1987, and is
A lot of these around the park world.
one of the most cloned rides in the world. So we just took a look at the Bat, and now we're going to head over here towards the back part of the section here, and we're going to head towards the next ride coming up, and we'll talk about that in a second. So we come through that little turn right there and we come up on Wild Beast. Now this was built in 1981, opened with the park, and is a wooden coaster built by Curtis D. Summers and Taft Broadcasting. Now this is modeled after another coaster at Coney Island called Wildcat. Folks, we're back out in the middle of the medieval fair section here. Up to the right is a nice little dining area called King's Feast. I imagine you probably get turkey legs and that kind of fare there. So yeah, T and I were just commenting, this kind of reminds us, you know what, it reminds me of Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, really.
Oh yeah.
That's what it really reminds me
German
of.
section.
Yeah, with the architecture here. And that's going to bring us to the next coaster in this section of the park, and that's Leviathan. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the crowning glory for Canada's Wonderland. And this is the park's B&M Giga Coaster.
The tallest coaster in Canada.
And it's the tallest coaster in Canada at 306 feet. And standing right next to Leviathan is Drop Tower Scream Zone here at Carowinds. This is one of the Entenmann drop towers using the eddy currents. This is just like the one at Six Flags St. Louis, Superman's Tower of Power. Unfortunately, right now it's not open. Into the park behind Leviathan here, going right under their drop tower, is CTR. This is their go-kart track here. This is an added fee attraction, but it's always great fun, especially for the younger kids that want to drive. So folks, the next ride that we come to in the medieval fair section is going to be Vikings Rage. Now this is a Huss swinging ship ride. So after you get off of the Vikings Rage, you come across to Wild Nightmares. Now this is built by Huss. It kind of reminds me of the Bamboozler at Worlds of Fun in Kansas City. So, but the next ride we come to is Spinnovator. This is built by Mack Rides and opened in 1981. This is their Calypso teacup model. It's one of the more intense flat rides here at the park. It just goes very fast, it really does. It reminds me of Fiddler's Fling at Six Flags Great America. So folks, we're almost done with this section of the park. We have one more flat ride and one more coaster to get to. So the last coaster that we're going to come to in the park today is going to be Dragonfire. Now, Dragonfire is a aerodynamics custom looping coaster. It opened in 1981 with the park. It was one of the 4 original roller coasters here in the park. So the last ride that we come to in the medieval fair section of the park is going to be Riptide. So this is a Mondial. It opened in 2000. It's a splash over top spin model. It's one of the better ones that they have. Alright, so folks, that's going to do it for the medieval fair section of the park. It's just a few more feet here and we'll be heading back into International Street. And once we get up there, we'll go ahead and say goodbye.
So folks, now we are back in International Street. I'm going to take you to the front and say goodbye to you folks. 2019 will also be the first year they're doing a Winterfest here at Canada's Wonderland. There we go. So folks, thank you for joining us at Canada's Wonderland here in Vaughan, Ontario. It's a huge park. It's a great park. It's worth the trip if you ever get a chance here to go to Canada. We tried to do the fun day of the park, but the tour took almost 7 hours, and we have about 3 hours left. It would do the park injustice to do a fun day at the park here. They do have 17 coasters and many flat rides, so
it's just too much to try and do all in one day.
We'll probably come back tomorrow and do fun day at the park and showcase the parks, what's available for you folks. So this is T.
And I'm Tom.
Till next time, see you at Canada's Wonderland tomorrow.